Have you ever gotten behind on a job? Like, ridiculously behind. It seems like there's no way you're ever going to catch up. That's what happened with our yard. Mainly the backyard. So the kids have taken over mowing the yard. So the middle two are the ones who, that's what they want to do now. So they take turns. Well, we have 5 acres. We do not mow the whole 5 acres. We only mow the front yard, a little strip on the side, and then usually the backyard, because that's where the swing set and the trampoline and the kids' toys are. Okay, so fast forward. Last year our weed eater broke, so a lot of the maintenance areas did not get done because you can only get a lawnmower so close. Well, when this year rolled around, mowing season started. A lot of storms had come through, and so there was quite a few limbs and different things in the backyard. And we had not taken the time to go back there and clean them up yet because of just various things, like life has been happening back to back. So the backyard has not been mowed in a minute, okay? And the side of the house had not been mowed, which is where their tree swings are. Front yard looked good. The side strip where the dogs are looked good. By the swings in the backyard where the kids play, looks like a jungle. Little trees are already starting to grow up. Like, it's ridiculous. So I know I've gone on the back porch and I would look and I'm like, this is impossible. Like, we're never going to get our yard back. We're going to have to get somebody to come bush hog it, and somebody else is going to have to do it because there's no way. So for Father's Day, I know my husband appreciated this. Well, he was off work. We only had one service, so we went to church that morning, and we came home, we ate lunch, and we decided we were going to tackle this yard. Me and him and the kids. So their job was to pick up the yard, move things out of the way, and we were going to weed eat and mow. It's super hot in the south. It's super hot. The humidity is ridiculous. So we did have to take frequent breaks, and towards the end, actually one of the kids took over weed eating around the swing set and mowing around the swing set because we were just done for the day. The job seemed impossible. It seemed ridiculous. So usually it takes about an hour and a half to mow and weed eat the whole yard. The parts that we do, because the rest of it's woods. So we started, and it took 5.5 hours. And part of it was still not even finished. We finished that up the next day. It was a lot of work. Like, I woke up the next morning, my arms are sore, my legs are sore, my husband's back was hurting, and it's like, it was a lot of work. A lot. But then I go look off my back porch, and I see, and it's safer for the kids to play in the backyard. It's, I can actually see that I have a yard. It's so rewarding, and I'm so thankful that we took the time to do it, even though as I'm nearing my 40s, I find that my body is not as able to bounce back as quickly as it used to. And let's just say I'm still feeling the effects 3 or 4 days later, okay? So what does that have anything to do with God? Have you ever been in a season with God where you just, I don't know, it just got hard? You got distracted. Things got in the way. You didn't intend to, but now suddenly your prayer life is not what it should be, and you haven't been reading the Bible like you should, and fasting, what's that? You haven't done that in over a year, It's all those spiritual disciplines that are necessary for our relationship and walk with God to keep us, spiritually healthy. Sometimes they get they fall by the wayside, Sometimes they just get pushed to the side. We don't intend to, maybe there was a season of sickness and you were just super tired and super sick, or the kids were sick, or something just got in the way, and now you're looking at it and you're like, it's impossible. I can't get back to where I was with God. There's no way. Like, maybe you were a champion and you would read your Bible every day, study it for an hour, and you would pray for an hour, and you would fast 2 meals a week, and you were just super dedicated, and this is what you were. And now you mumble a prayer here or there, but you don't really feel that connection, and your Bible reading is just reading a couple of verses here or there and just hoping for the best, because it just seems impossible to get back where you were. Or maybe you never were there. Maybe you just started, or you've been living for God for a little while, but you never really got those disciplines down, and you're looking at like, it's impossible, okay? It's like when we first moved into this house. When we first moved into this house, it was in foreclosure, and it had been empty for a while, and there were spiders everywhere, and it seemed impossible to get rid of those spiders. That wasn't even like, something that I did. It was just spiders. A couple of trips from the exterminator, though, and it took care of it. But it's just one of those things where it seems impossible, whether you're starting out or you're trying to reestablish. Today, if you're struggling, if you feel like you're not going to get there, it's going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take some discipline. That's the reason why it's called a discipline. Set you a timer. Make you a checklist. Yes, we don't live for God out of a checklist, but do whatever you have to do to get yourself back on track. Because the thing is, if you're doing it because you desire for it to manifest that relationship with you and Jesus, you're doing it because you want to better your relationship, there's nothing wrong with putting it on the calendar. Where it becomes a problem is when you're doing it out of routine. You're just saying your prayer so you can check it off the list. You're not saying your prayer to make a connection. It's the same thing in our relationship with our husbands and wives, with your spouse, whoever your spouse is. I put date night on the calendar. Why? Because if I wasn't intentional about putting it on the calendar, I wouldn't ever go on a date night. But now if date night rolls around and I just go because, it's on the calendar and it's got to be done, I'm not bettering my relationship with my husband, Tony. I'm just going through the motions. But when I look at date night on the calendar and I'm like, okay, and we're going on date night, and I use that time to build connection with him. I use that time to, communicate and have fun and do all the things that maybe have gotten pushed to the side because of life and, bills and jobs and kids. Then date night on the calendar is not a bad thing. It's a reminder of what I need to keep my relationship healthy. I've listened to podcasts that have talked about putting things on the calendar for like intimate nights, It's to be intentional about it. You just can't forget the purpose behind it. So roll up your sleeves today and get ready to do that hard work. Because now that my yard is done, now it's just maintenance. Now it's just mowing and weed eating. When it's time, it's not tearing down a jungle every time. It's not ripping up the vines that have taken over. It's not mowing down these trees that have tried to take over the backyard. It is simply maintaining the path that's already been cut out and done. And that's what it is with our walk with God. When you're struggling, yes, sometimes we struggle. Sometimes we get to where we're just negligent, not intentionally. That's why it's important to figure out what you have to do to get back on track. Don't look at the task as too daunting to even begin, because what you do is you cheat yourself out of wonderful, valuable time in your walk with God. We do the same thing in our relationships. So this isn't just a biblical thing about your walk with God. This is about your walk with your family. It's your walk with your friends. Oh man, I wish that I could get together with so-and-so and we just sit down and have a meal and talk. Then do it. Put it on the calendar. Be intentional. Do you know I have a checklist for just about everything I have to do throughout the day, which seems insane. But if I don't, then at night my mind goes a million miles a minute of all the things I need to do. So if I just put it on my checklist, there it is. And every so often I'll have to roll something on my checklist for the next day. And that's life. That happens. But I even put on that checklist, text and check on so-and-so. Why? Because they came to my mind when I was praying, and I don't want to stop my prayer time to do it because my conversation with God is too important. But on the other hand, I know He brought it to my mind for a reason, and I don't want to forget it. So I make a note of it. And then I go back and put it in my checklist later, or I just knock it out when I get done praying. You just got to figure out what you have to do to keep your focus. Because as the times get darker, as the coming of the Lord gets nearer, you're going to see distractions are everywhere. And it'll be so easy to wake up one day and be like, I don't remember the last time I went on a date with my husband. I don't remember the last time I sat down at the kitchen table and ate supper with my family and talked to my children. I don't remember the last time we did anything fun together as a family. I don't remember the last time I prayed and really prayed, and it wasn't just saying words to just get it done. You'll look back and you'll wonder where your relationships have went. So today, I encourage you. It is not impossible, and it's not too far gone. No matter if it's a relationship with a person or with God, if it's your yard being overgrown with weeds, it's not too far gone. Your yard is only a clearing away. It's just going to take a little bit of effort and a little bit of time. And you can do this. It won't always be this hard. You won't always struggle like this, because once you get it done, there will be times where there will be maintenance. Like every year when mowing season rolls back around, we have to clean up the yard. Every time we have to mow, we have to clean up the yard, make sure nothing's in the yard. We have to do these small things, but it's nothing like tearing down a jungle. So do the hard work. Figure out what you have to do to get it back on track. And go be the glorious person that God created you to be. You were made in His image, fearfully and wonderfully made. So take that and know that because He created you to be His, this is not impossible. It might seem impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And when you turn to Him and you depend on His strength to draw you back in alignment where you should be and put you back on the path that you should be, you're going to see your walk with God explode into something glorious.